All right. I didn't get to put all these points in this last video I just made about the Indian Hebrew connection. There's a couple more possible connections here. Okay. There's this custom of, I read in the Old Testament. I'm not sure which book it's in, but it's about when a woman has her first period, that she's separated from the rest of the tribe because, like, God's real specific about the way that you use blood and how blood is unclean. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to drain the animal of all its blood because the blood contains spirit and life force in it. So this is another custom that the Indians practices during the girl's first period. She gets sent away from the rest of the tribe, and she gets put in her own personal wigwam, set apart from everyone. And then only her grandmother comes and brings her water and food, and has basically what it's like. It's like a spiritual fasting too. There's another. I mean, I know a lot of cultures might have fasted, but this is definitely another connecting factor. The Indians did fast and receive visions from God, and also could interpret dreams, things of this nature. And this is all biblically endorsed concepts and practices. And people overlook these things because we don't practice them as much these days, because we're detached from them. So there's another possible connection. The legend of the peace pipe comes from the Indian tribes were so busy killing each other because of this old Mosaic blood for blood law, basically, that God said that the cries of people, of the souls, were reaching into heaven. So he had to send down messengers to tell the Indians to, instead of making war with each other, it's time to make peace and adopt people as brothers, so that we wouldn't have no more war between each other. I mean, it worked to an extent, but ancient hatreds always seem to come back in the second, third, fourth generation. I mean, this is the same thing happens in all cultures. But there is references of this being addressed to our people. That instead of making war forgiveness and making peace is stronger and it's pleasing to God. Okay? So there's another possible similarity here. Alright, and supposedly, I'm not sure where this comes from, but Hiawatha, supposedly, how he was given corn from an angel that was sent from the Great Spirit. And he wrestled with him in a similar manner that Jacob wrestled with the angel, and then he got his hip broke. I mean, I'm not sure if these things are if that's just amalgamation tale, or if it's actual historical. I don't know, but it's worthy of taking note. There's the angel man God connection, that the Indians definitely were in tune with. Alright, now here, this is a very critical point right here. This is something that is so overlooked. Alright, the totemic system. People always try to, once again, say this is voodoo. Okay? When, if you read in Genesis, at the end of it, Joseph, after everyone's reunited, I mean, especially the Indians definitely liked the tale of Joseph, because for some reason it rang true to them, because there was a similar story of the boy that had what was it? He had the special outfit made by his father, and his brothers basically did something to him because their father liked him the most because he was the youngest child. So I mean, I'm not sure. A lot of this stuff is going to be lost in history because there's no finding it. The Jesuits done destroyed our traditions and history, because that's who did it. The Jesuits are the ones who schooled the Indians and beat them and made them not speak their language or practice anything that they knew to be right. They're the ones who civilized us, right? Knights of Malta. Those are the ones to teach people how to be civilized, right? But anyway, back to the totemic system. In the end of Genesis, the 12 tribes are split up in a similar totemic system by God. So I mean, even though the ancient Hebrews did for sure practice, in some cases, voodoo type ritualistic worship and other gods, idols. Here's the thing. The Indians they weren't sculptors. They weren't supreme metallurgists. They didn't build temples with stone. So, you can't associate us there with that. But, Indians certainly did have a lot of, since it basically says we got chased here by everywhere we went. Everyone was trying to kill us until finally we got here, and it was no different. We were hemmed in between the Iroquois and the Lakota, and we just had to keep fighting them but we were the first people to link up with the French. So that's where we learned a lot of our more dark, sinister practices, because the French taught us how to poison people, which is a textbook Jesuit Illuminati practice. So I mean, just as I can trace back these other customs, I can also trace the dark customs in some cases back to Europeans. But no, we did have, I mean, if the spirit of Satan was everywhere, it was here too. So, just like I said, not all cultures, there were some people within these cultures who preferred lawlessness to what was right. So, I mean, there is no people on this planet who can claim anything other than that. That's being intellectually and historically honest with themselves. Okay? So, it's, I'm not saying, I'm not trying, this ain't like, oh, I'm better than you, we're special. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, listen, we are supposed to be intellectually honest and truthful about things. So this is just things that need to be looked at by somebody. I'm sick of being the only guy out here, or one of the only guys out here who's privy to this stuff. I mean, it is because I do have a family tie here and a connection to it. So it makes me, I've sought it out by accident, and but I mean, actually, it's enriched my life greatly, but at the same time, now, I gotta go around. There's no way for me to get this out at all. People ain't trying to hear that. You know what I'm saying? Especially now. I mean, people think that the Hebrews are Jews. When, I've said in multiple videos, Judah is one tribe, and there's actually 13 tribes. I heard someone today say Manasseh was the tribe that got taken out. No, it's Dan. And Dan are supposedly the French and the Spaniards. So, I don't know. A lot of this stuff, like I said, I'm taking other people's word for it. I don't have access to the right materials. I mean, I would like to get into that Vatican archive. I'd like to cut a hole through the ground and go up in there and read their books. You know what I'm saying? Just take a look. See what you're hiding. What do you know? Like I said, the Jesuits definitely have a compilation of our history, and they're not telling no one about it. They're part of the people trying to cover this up. And then if the Jews nowadays, the people that call themselves Jews, how can they be ignorant of the other tribes? How could, you know what I'm saying? They can't be if they truly study the same. I've studied the Torah, first 5 books of the Bible. It's not that difficult, But anyway, I don't know, just take it into consideration.